All right, everyone. Well, happy Thursday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you may be joining us from today. And many thanks for taking the time out of everyone's busy schedules to come together today and talk about hopefully a very near and dear topic to everyone in this room. My name is Katie Laban. I am the Conservation Coordinator for AZA, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and serve as the primary contact for AZA to our SAFE programs, which we will dive into in a few moments. Just a few housekeeping rules for today. We will introduce each of the speakers who are joining us today and have some Q&A with them to talk about the work that they do and allow the audience to join in as well. There will also be a call to action for those of us in this room and also for us to spread to our colleagues to get involved with Action Indonesia Day on August 10th of this year. And so we will go into that a little bit as well later on. This conversation will be delivered in English. There will be an Indonesian translation for Q&A. And while the presentations and questions are going on, please feel free to drop any comments or questions in the Q&A through the chat function, and we will work to get to those by the end of the discussion, and translation can be offered if needed. For anyone who is unfamiliar or working their way into the topic for today, we are here to discuss the Action Indonesia Global Species Management Plan, or GSMP, as I like to be reminded. We do sometimes work within the acronym SOUP, so it's always great to remind ourselves to say what all of those words or what all of those letters stand for before we delve too many start throwing too many acronyms around and confuse ourselves hopelessly. And we are joined today by many tremendous professionals within the zoo and aquarium world, field conservationists, educators, marketers, and so many folks with diverse skill sets who all care very deeply about the species and the ecosystem that we will be working on today. And I would now like to give a warm welcome to our speakers today, and I hopefully will do everyone right by their by their names, but I do apologize in advance if I stumble upon anyone, and I will go ahead and share my screen. All right, is that all popping through? Okay, lovely. I always appreciate seeing thumbs up. All right, well, joining us today, we have Dr. James Burton, who is chair of the IUCN SSC Asian Wild Cattle Specialist Group and the convener of the Global Species Management Plans Banting, Babirusa, and Anoa species. We have Julia Klum, who is the graphics and content manager from Zoo Miami in Miami, Florida, United States, and is our program leader for the Action Indonesia Anoa, Babirusa, and Banting SAFE program. We also have Joe Fors, the curator of mammals at Audubon Zoo in New Orleans, Louisiana, United States, and is the population coordinator for the Safe Action Indonesia program. And lastly, we have Eko Windarto, who is the curator at Taman Safari Indonesia Prigen and is also part of the GSMP's education working group. So hopefully that was all well and good. And I just have a few slides myself just to also introduce how AZA's SAFE program fits within this international framework of Action Indonesia, and how we all really hope that by combining our skill sets and our efforts, we can really make a significant impact for these species that we so care about. As I said, I am part of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and I wanted to briefly introduce ourselves in case there are folks in this room who are not familiar with us, our acronym or our brand. AZA is a 501c3 nonprofit. Within that, we are many things. We are an accrediting body for now 251 institutions across 13 countries. And through our rigorous accreditation process, where we assess our members' standards in animal care and husbandry, conservation practices, education, finances, and the like, we are able to set the gold standard for the care of species, the ability to care for species in human care and our impact that we hope to make on this world. We are also a trade association and a professional society. Amongst our members, we have a variety of commercial organizations. We have folks who are well skilled in the research field, in the veterinary world, in education and advocacy, and so many other topics. And we are able to provide an umbrella upon which all of their work can be highlighted and supported. We are also a grant-making organization. We have two specific grants within AZA that are devoted solely to field conservation and to supporting the objectives of SAFE programs and their partners. And as the top part of the umbrella, as we could say, AZA is the voice for all of our members. We stretch across a wide variety of sizes of institutions, types of institutions, but we all combine together to really let our voices be heard on the matters that matter so much to us. We did publish our new 5-year strategic plan last year, and so our mission and vision applies to not only us within the main office in Silver Spring, Maryland, United States, but it also applies to how our members carry themselves in their daily lives and also in their interactions with their millions of guests who come through their gates every day. And that is, we envision a world where animals thrive because all people respect, value, and conserve wildlife and wild places, and us as the main office for AZA, we want to serve our members in advancing animal well-being, public engagement, and the conservation of wildlife and wild places so that we can set that global standard of excellence, that gold standard, so that all of our members are rightfully recognized for the subject matter experts that they are. Now, I realize that today we are more so focusing on SAFE and the SAFE program that has been created for Anoa, Babirusa, and Banteng. And so I just wanted to give a brief overview of what exactly SAFE is. It is AZA's signature conservation program, and it is a framework built upon a simple purpose. It is to look at those species that really are teetering on the brink. They are threatened with extinction. They have been classified as such through different entities, whether it's through the IUCN Red List, whether it's through a nation's wildlife recovery effort, and the like. We want to make sure that we're building upon established recovery plans and tracking records of commitment. Conservation is not done in a vacuum, and we certainly don't want to reinvent the conservation wheel. So we want to make sure that we understand the foundation that has been given to us, and we're able to build upon that correctly. And we want to make sure that collaboration, not even amongst just our AZA member institutions, but collaboration across all spectrums, across all skill sets is vital, because we need all voices in the conservation world to be involved in the process of saving animals from extinction. We want to make sure that we are strategic, that we are thoughtful when implementing conservation, and we want to make sure that we are correctly and appropriately engaging the impact of our public, of the guests that are coming to AZA accredited institutions, and the impact that we can make on a broader scope in order to galvanize continued action for these species. And we also want to make sure that we are recording and highlighting the work that is being done so that we can continue to bring more folks into the conservation space, that we can make sure that we are correctly identifying and collaborating with the skill sets that are so desperately needed for these efforts. Every year, AZA sets measures of success in order to evaluate how SAFE is progressing. We are actually hitting our 10-year anniversary this year since SAFE was created, which is very exciting. And as you can see, some of our targets from last year, we more than surpassed, and others we still are a work in progress. But one of the highlights last year, of course, was the creation of the SAFE program for Anoa, Babirusa, and Banting. So they are part of this 50 mark, which was hit more than 3 years ahead of schedule. So an incredible achievement by our members and their partners. As I said, AZA spans the globe, and also the reach of our SAFE program span the globe. So this is an infographic showcasing some of our species and the regions in which the conservation efforts are targeted. And even within this year alone, 2025, we've now added 4 more programs on top of what was reported by the end of last year, including new programs in South Africa, in Equatorial Africa, and then right here in the United States. So already halfway through 2025, it's been an exciting time, bringing us now up to 54 SAFE programs. When our members are interested in proposing a SAFE program, SAFE is entirely member-led. The species and the conservation scope that they want to pursue are entirely determined by the members of our zoos and aquariums, and they just need to hit these series of eligibility criteria. So as I said, we need to confirm their status within the conservation world, whether it's through IUCN, a nation's wildlife listing, or what have you. We want to see what efforts have already been in place, what is existing. We want to see what stakeholders are already a part of the conversation, and then letting us see what the baseline is so that we can continue to build upon who is involved in this effort. And within AZA, we do want to make sure that our accredited members are involved and actively a part of these discussions. So we look to see what zoos and aquariums have already been involved with the conservation of this species and their history of supporting and or directly implementing conservation work. SAFE programs can look a variety of different ways, which I think is one of the beauties of SAFE. None of them look similar, and they all operate differently. Like the SAFE program that was created for Action Indonesia, that's focusing on 3 species within a very select region. Most commonly, we have SAFE programs that focus on a single species, such as our whooping crane SAFE program. However, what is unique about that one is it does span 2 countries, going with the migrational paths of whooping cranes from Canada to the United States and back. We have other SAFE programs like Asian hornbill, which cover more than 15 species now with the next iteration of the program's action plan, and they're spanning 5 or 6 countries now, if I remember correctly. We also have some that cover an immense number of species. We have a Safe Shark and Ray program, which covers all 1,200 elasmobranchs. And for them, it's looking at very overarching critical needs for these species as a whole, looking at overfishing, advocacy, and really improving the image that sharks and rays have amongst the general public. And these SAFE programs all can have a different conservation approach. The only fully in situ program we have at this point is the SAFE Vaquita program. Vaquita are not in human care, and the SAFE program works very closely with their partners in the upper Gulf of California, really looking at behavior change and how artisanal fishing can live side by side with this critically endangered species. We have many safe programs that have a blended approach, utilizing the expertise and skill sets of our colleagues from the ex situ world with animal care, animal husbandry, veterinary science, and whatnot, and looking to see where our strengths are in the in situ world with field conservation, and then utilizing their strengths to help fill in any gaps as we move forward with the SAFE programs work. And at this moment, we don't have a fully ex situ program. However, if there was a need for an assurance population where reintroductions were potentially down the line, then a SAFE program would be, I think, an excellent fit to provide them the resources and support they need. And I just want to end here by really showcasing to you all the SAFE program, as I said, is only 10 years old, but what AZA I feel fully stands behind is how safe for our members within AZA. We are really highlighting and loving the holistic approach of conservation. We need to have all voices, we need to have all skill sets involved. And through the lens of SAFE, we're able to provide the flexibility the programs need in order to have all of those voices together, to have the collaborations that they need across universities, NGOs, government agencies, and the like. We are providing the SAFE programs a platform in which that they can highlight their work and their partners' work, and also potentially highlight species that may not normally get the same sort of attention as others. We are looking to utilize and provide as many resources as the SAFE programs need in order to move the needle for conservation, including the financial component, the philanthropic support that AZA is able to provide. So for any questions about SAFE, I will be happy to take those later. And also I will put my email in the chat if anyone has any specific questions. And I will stop there, and I will now pass it to James. If you have any information that you will be sharing, or if we are just going to have some quick dialogue.
Great. Thanks very much, Katie. And afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are. Yeah, thank you. Thanks everybody for joining this Action Indonesia meeting with a particular focus on the SAFE program, and was really inspiring. Thank you, Katie, for sharing the breadth and range of SAFE programs that have developed in the last 10 years. Yeah, that's a real achievement by AZA, and yeah, we look forward to working with you and more AZA partners in the future. So I thought it's useful. Some people are very familiar with Action Indonesia, and some people maybe less so. So I'd just like to give a quick introduction before we hear from some amazing experts who are going to talk more about their particular area that they're excited about and want to share with you today. So, and to explain my role, so I chair the IUCN SSC Specialist Group for Asian Wild Cattle, and I'm also a tag chair in the AZA zoo community. For the Action Indonesia GSMPs, I kind of work as the glue or the oil between the wheels to make sure that everything runs kind of smoothly most of the time. But that's actually pretty easy because there's lots of really, really enthusiastic people involved. So it makes the job fun and relatively easy to do. Not always, but most of the time. And yeah, a lot of it is working between the regions. So with our Indonesian colleagues in zoos and national parks, with AZA partners and with the AZA partners. So yeah, it's a really nice and interesting role that I have to work with so many experts and interesting people. The program, the Action Indonesia program, has a goal to achieve stable and secure populations for these four Indonesian ungulate species, the Anoa, Babirusa, and the Banteng. And this involves both the ex situ and the in situ populations. So And it follows the one plan approach for conservation, for species conservation. And one plan conservation is really making sure that both the in situ and the ex situ actions, needs are being met in a collaborative way and through planning together and then through implementing. And as we heard Katie mention, this collaborative approach is so important to achieve success. So that's really what the one plan approach is. We try to follow that wherever possible. It's obviously really complex, involving lots of partners, lots of experts from different fields, but it's actually really beneficial because experts from zoos can share their expertise, their knowledge to our national parks, to our NGOs, and the data that's collected in the field, of course, is really important for ex situ management as well. So, in particular, for the Action Indonesia program, for our in situ work, we are working with partners with national parks to monitor banteng populations, Anoa and Babirusa populations, and also do education work to raise awareness with local communities through those parks and through other partners. We've been working with 2 national parks that hold banteng and 1 that holds Anoa and Babirusa. And from the ex situ side, so the zoo community, we have a goal that the ex situ populations act as an insurance to be there if there is a need for reintroduction or supplementing, strengthening in situ populations in future. And we're working towards population targets, numbers of animals in each zoo region, and also maximizing the genetics of those populations so that those animals are ready if there is a need in future. And in particular, we've been focusing on our work with Indonesian zoos to improve and strengthen the breeding there. And how this works, how we all work together as one team, is that we have 9 different thematic working groups. So we talked about all the different expertise we heard, and we know that's really essential for conservation. So we have experts leading each of these 9 teams. We have a group working on animal husbandry and welfare. We have others working on education, on population management, ensuring the genetics and the populations are maintained ex situ. And of course, we have in situ groups as well. So those 9 working groups all work on their individual topics, but also collaborate across those thematic areas. And just to highlight a couple of successes I'd like to point out today. Hopefully we'll hear some others from other colleagues as well. But the collaboration with our Indonesian zoo colleagues, with PKBSI, the Indonesian Zoo and Aquarium Association, we're now starting to see really a high number of births and breeding of populations of the ex situ populations in Indonesia, which is really excellent because they've got really key individuals that it's really important to be breeding. And there's a really nice and strong process that's developing in Indonesia, which many zoos are buying into to increase these populations in zoos in range country, which is fantastic. And secondly, collaboration. The work between regions has been fantastic. We're all learning from each other. Wherever we are, we're all hearing different experiences and learning about how to do things in a slightly different way. So that's been really inspiring and exciting. And I think it increases with every new partner, with every new collaboration like the SAFE development. So I'm really pleased that there is a SAFE program for the Action Indonesia Partnership for Anoa Babirusa Banteng. And I'm really looking forward to hear what colleagues have to share. So thanks very much, Katie, and back to you.
Thank you, James. And it's always a wonderful reminder, even looking at your faces on the screen, that we all are coming from not only different regions and different time zones, but we have different expertise. But when we put all of our heads together, that's really where the magic happens. So thank you for sharing that. I realize that I introduced everyone in a certain timeline, but I believe from our agenda that Echo, you are next. So please share yourself and share your news with us.
Okay, thank you, Getty. Okay, good morning for all Friday in the America and good afternoon all my friend in Europe and good evening for my friend in Indonesia. And hello everyone, very happy to see you all in this occasion. My name is Eko Windarto and I'm the curator of Taman Safari Indonesia Prigen. I'm the national stat bookkeeper for the Bandeng Jawa, and I'm also honored to be part of the education working group within the Global Species Management Plan or GSMP. Today, I'd like to share a bit about what it means to be part of the GSMP education working group and how collaboration, especially through the one plan approach, is essential for the success of species conservation both locally and globally. For the first, being part of the GSMP Education Working Group, I think as a member of the Education Working Group, our main focus is to raise awareness and build understanding about the species managed under the GSMP. There are the banteng, babi rusa, anoa, and now there are the Sumatran tiger. We do this by, for the first, developing and sharing engaging education materials, and then supporting in situ and ex situ institution in delivering and convey the message for the conservation about the GSMP animal. And then ensuring the local communities, visitors in our park, our zoo, and stakeholders are not just informed, but also inspired them to participate in conservation. We act as a bridge between the science of species management and public engagement. Education is not just about the transferring information, it's about the creating emotional, connecting, and empowering people to act. And how collaboration benefit with GSMP? Collaboration in the foundation of GSMP and the education working group thrive on it. Here are a few ways how collaboration in case of effort. For the first is shared knowledge, working together with youth, field project, NGO, and government allow to create more accurate and culturally relevant education program. And the second, uneven messaging. With one strong, consistent conservation message across multiple platforms and countries, we increase the impact, especially the impact for the animal in the GSMP, for animal at GSMP. The third is capacity building. We support training for education in zoos and the field. So conservation education, it's not only informative, but transformative. And then community engagement. Collaboration ensures that education effort respect and include local voice, particularly from communities living near the species natural habitat, especially maybe communities living near the national park and a natural reserve. We give the education in their park. Why the one plan approach matter? We think the one plan approach with which integrates in situ and ex situ efforts give the education a more strategic role. It means that the message we share are informed by field realities and vice versa. Education outcomes can support field action. For the example, a breeding program in zoo can be connected to habitat protection through education. And then school near species natural habitat can learn directly from the global conservation strategic development under the GSMP. We did it the above of the banteng species. on 11 December 2024, we did the reintroduction for banteng to Pananjung National Reserve. And before we did it, we do the education for school near a species, and for breeding program, it's same. We did it for all banteng breeding program in Indonesia, and especially we coaching directly from Mr. James Burton and team. What AZA Action Indonesia SAFE means for us, the new AZA Action Indonesia SAFE program provides an incredible opportunity to strengthen our educational impact. For the first impact is it brings more resource and visibility to Indonesian conservation stories. And the second, it encourages partnership between global zoo institution. Yeah, there are the Chester Zoo and many more zoo again, and Indonesian institution in especially PKBSI and the another zoo, and including knowledge exchange in education. Yes, the team of GSMP give us the knowledge, all knowledge about the husbandry, about the conservation for all species, four species GSMP, banteng, anoa, babi rusa, and Sumatran tiger. And it aligned well with the goals of the GSMP Education Working Group by focusing on species recovery through the collaborative conservation and public engagement. In conclusion, education is powerful conservation tools. Through collaboration, consistency, and cultural relevance, the Education Working Group of GSMP support long-term success for the species we aim to protect, especially banteng in my park. And I'm grateful to be part of this collective effort. And I believe that together, through the one plan approach, we can build not only stronger conservation program, but also a stronger communities who care and act for wildlife. Okay, thank you very much. Let's continue building a bridge between people and wildlife with AZA. Thank you very much, Kathy.
Thank you so much, Echo. I am just already having the visual images of the work that you and your colleagues are doing, and it's already reminded me that I need to put Indonesia on my bucket list so that I can see the animals that you are able to see much more frequently. I'm already picturing my next adventure. I would love to bounce now to my colleagues in the States and Julia with our SAFE Action Indonesia program. Hopefully I did you justice on the overview of SAFE, but I would greatly appreciate you taking the audience to a more in-depth explanation as to what's going on with the program.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone on this call. Like Katie said, my name is Julia Klum. I'm the graphics and content manager at Zoo Miami, conservation action specialist for Action Indonesia. Within Zoo Miami, we have a specific title for those that are working particularly on conservation initiatives. And I'm the program lead for the Action Indonesia SAFE. I have been part of the Action Indonesia GSMP since 2018, primarily serving on the education working group, focusing on conservation education and awareness raising. I manage the website and the social media subgroups for the GSMP working groups, and we meet on a regular basis to forward the action plans for the GSMP since 2018, or since I've been involved in 2018. Like Katie said beautifully, how you explained what SAFE is. So SAFE is Saving Animals from Extinction. It's a conservation initiative within the AZA, Association of Zoos and Aquariums, that unifies AZA zoos and program partners in North America and around the world in support of in situ conservation. The Action Indonesia SAFE serves as the North American arm of the global GSMP and focuses on 3 of the 4 Action Indonesia species, Anoa, Babirusa, and Banteng. And it really harnesses the collective resources, knowledge, and expertise at U.S. zoos and professionals in support of the one plan approach for the Action Indonesia GSMP in situ and ex situ. The 3-year plan we have been building for a while is in review by AZA at the moment, and we hope to have the plan approved and launched within the next 2 months or so. So the Action Indonesia SAFE is already approved through AZA, but we are approving our specific action plan for the next 3 years right now. The Action Indonesia SAFE consists of 4 working groups that mirror sections within the GSMP: husbandry, population management with sections of genetics, education, and fundraising. Together as program partners and field partners, we had intense brainstorming meetings to identify objectives based on the GSMP master plan priorities, where we could have the most impact to forward the goals of the GSMP. Much of the action plan supports education and fundraising as important areas where we can have significant impact on awareness raising and collecting funds for in situ conservation work, as well as holder facilities for animals here. We also have objectives in husbandry and population management to increase, like I said, holder facilities and participation within AZA and within the US in general. We do have some assistance in genetic sampling and knowledge sharing as well within the SAFE. And while the SAFE program is relatively new, most of our program partners have been working with the GSMP for many years, some of them since the inception of the GSMP. And the hope is that the SAFE will solidify and amplify those activities so that as we work from across the world, we're all working together collaboratively to forward the conservation initiative set forth by the GSMP, whose master plan is going to be renewed in 2026, and the SAFE will embed within that program plan as well. Most of our program partners within the SAFE, like I said, have been working with the GSMP for many years and are already embedded in GSMP working groups, and this hopes to build more support within North America and further connect and embed within the GSMP working groups.
Thank you so much, Julia. And yes, the inaugural program plan for Safe Action Indonesia is currently under review by several of AZA's committees, and we are anxiously awaiting their feedback. The program has set itself an ambitious goal of having this document be publicly available around the time of World Action Indonesia Day, and we are going to cross all of our fingers that it happens. But it will be a significant milestone regardless. And to bring us for our finale, we have Joe from Audubon, and he is part of the Population Management Working Group for the SAFE program. So I would love to hear his news and perspective on how working with these species impacts our populations, both here in the United States and also internationally. So take it away, Joe.
Let me unmute here. So I'm going to apologize in advance if a random dog sticks their head in the camera with me. It's morning time, so we're supposed to be active and bouncing around. So I'm trying to occupy them. So my name's Joe Forries. I'm the curator of large mammals at Audubon Zoo. And I've been participating with the GSMP for, I don't know, close to 10 years now. Babirusa is my, I guess, expertise. I manage the program and the stud book for AZA. And that's originally how I became involved in the GSMP. And I've participated in several of the working groups through the GSMP husbandry group, Babirusa, everything Babirusa. I take every opportunity that I can to talk to someone about Babirusa, probably to the point of being annoying. But with SAFE, it became an avenue that we need more holders of Babirusa. So this was partly selfish on my part. We need more holders of Babirusa within the AZA community. I will talk to directors and curators and, you know, trying to push Babirusa on them, and they're like, what are Babirusa? Well, let me tell you about it. And now SAFE gives us a better vehicle in which to do that. Other zoos also are committed to more so their programming and conservation dollars go through SAFE programs. So this now allows us to have a vehicle to get some of those conservation dollars and put those into the GSMP programs. We have had a lot of successes through the GSMP, going back to some of our early training, even with forestry and you know, frontline rangers that are encountering confiscated animals and things. And we did trainings on how to triage animals that were injured, how to get animals in a crate, how to get animals out of a crate, transport animals, those kind of things. And we had a lot of positive feedback from that. We have a lot of great collaborative, both formal meetings and informal meetings, text messages, emails, those kind of things with colleagues all over the world. We share husbandry information, we share diet information, enrichment information, and we've been able to share even things that we know of, like we see all the time in zoo animals that if you're watching on a camera trap, well, what was that? Like, was that a female, a male, young female, young male? And we've been able to share that kind of information as well. So basically the GSMP and now the SAFE arm of the GSMP will allow us to open more doors for people to be involved. And through SAFE, even facilities that don't have our target species, perhaps there's someone there that's really interested in one of them or wants to get involved in a conservation program, and SAFE gives them a vehicle in which to do that, even if their facility isn't formally participating in the network. So all this is really exciting. And again, I take every opportunity I can to talk about Babirusa. I am also quite fond of Anoa and Banteng, so I don't want to give them the short shrift, but I will talk Babirusa every chance I get. So I'm happy to participate in this. I'm always energized when we have the opportunity to participate in one of these meetings or a webinar. I want to get the message out there. And for everyone who might be from an AZA facility, if you don't have Babirusa, please call me. I have some to place, and we would love to have you get very directly involved in the program.
Thank you, Joe. I have to admit, my previous institution has Babirusa, and when I first was introduced to the species, I think it's a face that everyone can fall in love with, despite what some folks' initial reactions may be. So I
They're the
appreciate.
best. They're the absolute best. And I will argue anyone on any other species, they are the best.
Well, there you have it. Maybe for next year's Action Indonesia Day, we'll have a popularity contest, and we'll see if the Babirusa wins out. Well, I greatly appreciate all of our speakers giving us an insight into the work that they do and the work that their organizations do. I think it's truly a testament to the work of the GSMP that we have such passionate individuals be a part of the conservation efforts for these species. And so I applaud and am in awe of all of the work that you do. As Julia mentioned, we do have Action Indonesia Day coming up. And for those who have not seen the graphic, we do have one created for August 10th if you would like to utilize it in any materials or promotions for your institutions. But Julia, I'm going to pick on you. How can, especially those of us in the zoo and aquarium world, how can we get involved and how can we help celebrate Action Indonesia Day?
Absolutely. So I had to change my background to Babirusa for Joe. So you see him, there he is. I had to do that. So North American zoos can participate in the SAFE by becoming a program partner. We have program partners all over the US, but you don't actually need to be an AZA zoo to become a program partner. And you can help us achieve the objectives set forth in the plan and by participating in the Action Indonesia Day on-site or online. Action Indonesia Day is Sunday, August 10th this year. And zoos can participate by sharing information online, hosting on-site activities to raise awareness for Action Indonesia species, but you also don't have to just be a zoo. As a person or an individual that is interested in any of the 4 GSMP species or the 3 safe species, Anoa, Babirusa, Banteng, or Sumatran tiger. You can also share anything that Action Indonesia has on our website or on our social media accounts. You can go to actionindonesiagsmp.org, where you can find out everything you need to know about the GSMP, about the Asian wild cattle group that is part of and directly embedded within the GSMP that James works with also, and about soon you will be able to find out about the SAFE also, but we also have resources. So we have a whole bunch of different resources that can be found online at that website, actionindonesiagsmp.org, including social media samples, photos, activities, banners, and even signage that are all ready to print, download, and use on site at all of your facilities. Or if you would like to share that on your own social media accounts, we encourage everyone to help raise awareness for all 4 of the GSMP species, to be able to really put them in the spotlight for a day at least, and hopefully more throughout the year.
Thank you, Julia. And I think what's also a great reminder, especially because this is a SAFE program that is connecting 3 species that perhaps the regular individual would not immediately connect together, is even if your institution does not have Anoa, Banteng, or Babirusa as part of its population, but you have other species that originate from the same range as these creatures, then your ability to tell their stories and to engage your audience remains the same. I think conservationists, at the end of the day, we are all storytellers. And so I think we have this wonderful ability to highlight these animals, even if we don't perhaps have them in our care. So thank you very much for that. I will now open it up to questions from the audience, and I'm going to lean on our colleagues from Chester for what has popped into the Q&A.
So there's currently not much popped up in the questions for the Q&A. So yeah, just another call to open it up to the rest of anybody attending the webinar. If you've got any questions for the speakers, now is your chance.
And if folks need a moment to percolate and find that question that they've been wanting to ask, or maybe were too nervous to ask about earlier, I do have a question for James. I am a bit curious, just because you're on the other side of the pond from us, if there are efforts akin to SAFE in the UK or in AZA, and if there's perhaps things that association to association we could learn from each other and potentially enhance more of our collaboration.
Thanks for the questions, Katie. I think the short answer is no, there's not anything equivalent in the AZA community. I mean, there's nothing as far as big a program, as ambitious a program as SAFE. There are different committees within the AZA community, within BIAZA, that focus on in situ conservation, education, but they're not species focused. So I think most of the structure of tags and breeding programs are very similar. And there is a very strong conservation committee that does a lot of work, but I think a program which is such as the SAFE, which is focusing fundraising expertise on certain species, which is kind of self-driven, I don't think really does exist in the AZA community. Anybody might have any ideas of similar things they could share. But I think I think there isn't anything. I think a lot of species programs work with in situ, starting to work with in situ partners kind of independently, but it doesn't have it doesn't have the regional association's kind of logo or approval. I know there's a very good conservation database that YAZA runs with all projects that are supported by YAZA members, but it's more of a reference, and they highlight projects from that. It's more of a reference rather than a selection process and developing partnerships. So I think it's maybe a bit more ad hoc. There are different partnerships, and how we work with the YAZA community is that in a similar way, lots of individuals and institutions have agreed to join, to share their expertise, to provide funding, and we do hold quarterly calls where we update everybody from the different regions. And we also have a meeting at the YAZA annual conference where we hear from the different working groups, the different work that's going on. But yeah, I think that was a long version of a short answer, but yeah, there isn't an equivalent.
A very thoughtful response. I appreciate that. And it gave us time for a question to pop in from the audience. So there is a question: what the biggest challenges have been in aligning stakeholders with the GSMP and Action Indonesia, I'm presuming SAFE program, all through the one plan approach. Or they would like to ask, what have been the best successes you'd like to share? So I will say, just for our take, and then I will probably pass it on to our colleagues from the States, that this SAFE program was really unique when the proposal arrived, because typically our SAFE programs, as I said, have been single species focused, or they've been a group of very closely related species, whether it's several species of African vultures or several species of Asian hornbills and the like. But this one, I think, really stuck out to us because while Anoa, Babirusa, and Banteng are related to some extent biologically, it's really the ecosystem that they share, the threats that they all face, and then this pre-existing effort that we are able to align ourselves with and build upon with the Global Species Management Plan. So I think it gave us the space to really to think about how we could put all of these pieces together and shine in our respective places. But I think what's come of it is, as Julia and Joe mentioned, an ability for our zoos and aquariums to utilize their skill sets in the best way possible. But I will pass this to Julia and Joe as well if they have other comments.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges that we've had really is just time, right? It's time of getting everyone together, having those brainstorming sessions. A lot of them end up being global, so getting all the time zones to align is, I think, one of our biggest challenges, but also kind of fun because we end up having calls early in the morning or late at night. I believe it's pretty late for you, Echo, and early for us. So it ends up being kind of interesting, and sometimes we'll do them in the morning in the US, sometimes we'll do them at night in the US, so that we can have feedback and opportunities for colleagues around the world to be able to join in and have feedback. We do a lot of things over email so that people can respond to them within their own time zones, so that they don't have to kind of jump in on a call at an inconvenient time for anyone. But it's been really fun to come together and discuss all of these really important pieces and find individuals that have specific skill sets at different institutions that can fill a niche that maybe was a little bit lacking before. So one of our successes, I think, has been really getting all of our program partners together. A lot of them are people that have been working for the GSMP for a long time, but kind of everyone was working on different working groups within the US, and we weren't really talking to each other about it. So being able to get all of us together and say, hey, you've been working on this working group for the past 10 years, and I've been working on this working group since 2018, and what can we do to work together to amplify the work that we've all already been doing for the GSMP. And so it was really cool to have those brainstorming sessions, even regionally, to kind of find out what everyone has been doing with the GSMP for a long time and align all of those things together into one plan that supports the GSMP from across the globe. There's some challenges in terms of we're not sure that all zoos will have the funding be able to travel to Indonesia. So what can we do from across the world that will have the most impact on a sustainable and consistent basis? And so we thought a lot about that when creating our program plan. I don't know if James or Joe or Echo, if you have any other feedback there.
No, I mean, I would
Go on,
echo
Joe.
things that you did say. I think we've had a lot of successes, even they're small successes, but I think when you start stacking them, I think it gives you momentum. Even going back to the GSMP, I think we've had, James alluded to this in the beginning, we've had a lot better breeding success across Indonesia. We've had better breeding success within AZA. More facilities, more people are talking about these programs. They're talking about these animals. There's been a lot of work put in. I know they're not part of this SAFE, but they are part of GSMP for Sumatran tiger, to improve husbandry. And that crosses, that's not just PKBSI tigers, that's tigers in AZA and tigers in AZA. So I think those kind of successes will hopefully lead us to more success in the future. And the more that we can put people together in whatever format that is, on these webinars, email, phone calls, text messages, or in person, it creates a community, and that community makes it easier to share information, ask questions, share successes, troubleshoot problems. And there's a lot of like really creative and really interesting people that are involved in this. And so it's resources for everyone. Whether you're having trouble with a particular species or you have an idea and you want to get it out there, these are become vehicles for you to be able to do that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that really similar. I think in developing, probably in what you said, Julie, in developing the SAFE and originally in the GSMP, it was finding a joint vision, an approach that we wanted to take. And there were maybe different ways of doing things, which is good. And it was finding the overlap and finding where we can all achieve something together as a partnership, as a collaboration. And that was the challenge, but now I think is the success that we're able to. Everyone is very open to listen, learn, and communicate. So that's a huge step forwards, and is resulting in step by step more and more successes.
And I know I saw a question there from Brent about joining, or any additional questions or resources that you would need, particularly about the Action Indonesia SAFE. You are always welcome to email me as program lead at julia.clum@miamidade.gov. I can give you all the information that you need about joining the Action Indonesia SAFE, either as a program partner or a program supporter. And once the plan officially launches, all of that will be fully available on the AZA website for the SAFE. So you'll be able to see the full action plan as well as any contact information. But for now, if you're interested in becoming a program partner, we welcome you. We're trying to add as many program partners as possible, whether you have the species or not. So you're welcome to email me and we can have a specific discussion.
And I think that is a perfect way to cap off this wonderful conversation today. I realize that we are at, we are past the top of the hour, so I appreciate everyone's flexibility in staying on for a few more moments. But again, I want to thank James and Echo and Joe and Julia for giving us that update into each of your worlds and the efforts that are going on across the globe when it comes to these species. And as a reminder to everyone, we welcome your support and your love of these species for Action Indonesia Day on August 10th. And for any questions following this webinar, the recording will be sent out to registrants, and you will be able to also contact us through the GSMP or through the organizers here from Chester Zoo. And lastly, I can't ignore but applauding and thanking the folks from Chester Zoo for putting on today's webinar. This was a wonderful ability to meet you all and to hear more about Anoa, Babirusa, Banteng, and the tigers. We won't forget them. But especially highlighting these three that we are working so collaboratively and closely on. So I want to thank you all for your time today and your passion and being part of our conservation community, and enjoy the rest of your day. We hope to see many of you online and hopefully in person, depending where in the world you are, celebrating Action Indonesia Day. Yes, and feel free to download the graphic that was put into the chat, and you can utilize that as part of promotions and materials as mentioned earlier. All right, thank you all very, very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.